guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Look at you popping on in, creeping on through the door. Appreciate you stopping by as we engage ourselves in a full album reaction, a full album listen we're doing today for a Long Song Saturday. I hope you're here to enjoy it. What are we doing? We're going to listen to Elton John. We're going to listen to the full album Honky, Chateau, which I believe Chateau is just house in French, so I'm pretty sure it just means honky house. All right, which was released in 1972, his fifth studio album. We've listened to a little bit, a few samplings of Mr. Elton John here on the channel, but today will be our first full album listen of him. So hope that you guys are excited for it. Hope that there's something in the lineup today that you're looking forward to. I am familiar, at least in passing, with Rocket Man, even though I'm more familiar with William Shatner's version. I don't know if I've actually heard Elton John's version. I've heard William Shatner's version first, and I only heard that because I first heard it on Family Guy. Listen, sometimes it takes a little modern to take you back to the classics. So everything else on here I believe should be new to me, but we'll find out as we go ahead and listen to it. Before we drop on in, if you'd like, just press that like button up, get it out the way, press the share button, and it helps a great deal. If it's your first time here, press the subscribe button. If it's not your first time here, why haven't you hit that subscribe button just yet? You can also support what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month, but you don't have to. It just helps out in me doing full album reactions like this instead of just doing song by song by song, which is most of what the channel is comprised of, or comprised of. That's the correct word. And also, before we dive into the album listen, I like to take opportunities, if you're here, if I got your attention for at least a little bit, just to shout out and recommend some music to you, because a lot of you guys recommend music to me, which actually I should pull up your names as well. But I highly recommend you check out the band Pila. They're from Finland, and they just came out with an album this year, actually, which I definitely recommend you listen to. Just really great jazz fusion. I mean, really great jazz fusion. I'm going to suggest this song, Melt Away. Just to give you a little bit of a sampling of them, but I think that you guys will really enjoy them. Highly recommend them. Let them know where you came from. Leave a comment on their videos. Check out their albums. Just a really fantastic band that I recently discovered. So I'll put a link for them below. And then also this album that we're listening to today was suggested or at least mentioned by Spooky Love Cookie, which is a fantastic name, Frank Pensagelli, Bob Delp, Sandy Miller, Donald Anderson, Michael Frank, Little City Girl, Ignatz Muskrat, Bob Holtzman, Brumley Twitch, Rich G, Minty Joe, Martin Taylor, and the list goes on for a while from there. Darius, Rachel Payne, God Bluff VDGG. Thank you all so much for the suggestion. I'm going to put on my headphones and, hold on, and, I got it right, hold on, I got it right here. Just got to pull it out. Just got to. Ba-bam. So there we go. So I'm gonna open this up, take a look through it really quick as we dive into the album there. But there, I have it in the dark. I don't even have the light on me. I was supposed to start this album listen like a minute ago, and here I am just messing around. But there is the album right there for you guys. There's the back as well. And then we'll pop this open as we listen. I'll show it off a little bit, and let's go. First track, Honky Cat. Here we go.
The woods, but I quit in those days, and all the fools back home, well, said I was a fool.
I love the suave kind of attitude that he sings with.
Well,
there's the jam, just going at it now. I mean, whoops, hold on, not yet. Honky Cat is a really great entrance into the album. Honky Cat. All right, let me close this real quick. It was about to play the next song, and I think it started playing. All right, Honky Cat has that kind of, to me, scrapyard, backyard, walking through the city funk feel, but there's a nice kind of bluesy backbeat on it. I really enjoyed the drumming. Of course, Elton's piano playing, I think, is spectacular here. He's pounding chords and putting it down, but it comes up with such flair and finesse that it just sounds so good. And when he brings in those lighter notes hitting up on the higher octaves, it sounds really good. And his singing, I think it has this soulful attitude, right? Like this, bah, 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 bah. Of course, very enunciated by the horns and the brass, but the way these things, like, it's smooth, it's melodic, but there's still a little just a little punch. Maybe not a full-throated like cross, but like it's a little jab in there. I really, really enjoy the way he's singing. And then the actual music, like you have Davy Johnston on the banjo, Dee Murray on the bass. Like I said, you have that brass section there with trumpet, trombone, and 2 saxes. And it all just has, to me, like this, I don't know, this scrappy, funky, bluesy kind of feel. Like, I've mentioned it before, but it reminds me of that old cartoon. Remember Tomcat? Well, it was Tomcat, right? I always forget, like, if that was actually the name of the cartoon. Was it Tomcat? Am I thinking Top Cat? No, it's Tom. No, who am I thinking of? I'm looking at him. I'm seeing the character. Was it Top Cat? Maybe? You know who I'm talking about. Top Cat. Okay. Man, nostalgia just hit me right now. Hanna-Barbera. Man. What a great cartoon that was. And the whole, remember we put the quarter in and then pulled it back out? All right. Excuse Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's like the mentality I'm getting. And it works because Honky Cat, Top Cat. But he's a cool cat. When I look back, boy, I must have been green. Bopping in the country, fishing in a stream. Looking for an answer, trying to find a sign. Until I saw your city lights, honey, I was blind. They said, get back, Honky Cat, get back into the woods. But I quit those days and my redneck ways, and no change is gonna do me good. You better get back, Honky Cat. Living in the city ain't where it's at. It's like trying to find gold in a silver mine. It's like trying to drink whiskey, from a bottle of wine. Well, people are trying to say, like, no, you don't want to go to the city. You're good where you are. Don't go to the city. But he's like, nah, I'm good. I've been there, done that. I'm going to this city. It's a new opportunity. It's bright lights, and I'm falling in love with it. Well, I read some books and I read some magazines about those high-class ladies down in New Orleans. And all the fools come back home. Well said, I was a fool. They said, oh, believe in the Lord is the golden rule. They said, stay at home, boy. You got to tend the farm. Living in the city, boy, is going to break your heart. But how can you stay when your heart says no? How can you stop when your feet say go? So once again, everyone's telling him, no, 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 no. And he's like, my heart is telling me yes, and I got to go. I got to go. Let's see. There is a Wikipedia page for this particular track. It says it reached number 31 in the UK and fared better in the US, peaking at number 8. This has been performed many, many times in the 50 years since its release, and it's also been covered by several others as well. All right, let's move on into the next track here on the album. As you heard, it was about to go into, and that is going to be Mellow. Here we go.
It's the same old feeling I get when you steal
let it in.
Going down to the stores in town, getting all the make me mellow. Oh, you make me mellow. Oh, make me mellow.
There's a few of you that are laughing during that reaction because when the organ solo came in, I was like, oh, that sounds really good. Then about halfway through, I'm like, is that organ or is it Mellotron? Because it sounded not organy, but what do I know, right? So here I go, looking it up. And I know there's a few of you that are waiting for me. You're waiting for me to find out because it's neither, some of you would say. Not organ, not Mellotron, not guitar. Not any of that. It's violin. And by whom? Some would suggest. None other than Jean-Luc Ponty on the album? Now, where did he come from? That, I didn't even guess. I didn't expect to see him at all here. That's a very, very welcome surprise. And now, with that knowledge in hand, I already liked the solo, I already liked how it sounded, but yeah, that adds a lot to it. That adds a totally different dimension into the music. That's a welcome guest spot, I'll tell you that. And I guess he's also going to be coming in on another track later on. That's cool. I like that a lot. This track is mellow, but it's not powerful. There's still oomph behind it. There's still power behind it. Yes, it's kind of ballady, but there is that I don't want to say power ballad, but there is that energy behind it. There is that dynamicism. Is that a word? It is now. Once again, the drums, I really like the production on the drums, especially in the moments where it comes back in with that heavy thump on the kick or on the floor tom. The moments in the chorus when we get that nice gap of air in the open hi-hat. It is crisp. It sounds so good, and it really pushes the song and moves it along in that particular moment with the chorus. Elton obviously sounds incredibly wonderful here. Now, what I thought was organ, but when the violin comes in, even before it solos, just those few notes that it plays before getting into the solo, I really like how it's foreshadowing it and leads into it. It kind of gives us this little bit of, to me, like a church feel before going into Ponte's solo. That is really fantastic. His piano playing is light, it's airy, it's beautiful. This is really good so far. Cool grass blowing up the past, don't you know I'm feeling mellow. Oh, I love your Roman nose, the way you curl your toes, baby, make me feel so mellow. It's the same old feeling I get when you're stealing back into my bed again, with the curtains closed and the window froze by the rhythm of the rain. Oh, you make me mellow, rocking smooth and slow. Mellow's the feeling that we get watching the coal fire glow. Wrecking the sheets real fine, that's one way of putting it. Heaven knows what you sent me, Lord, but God, this is a mellow time. No matter what, all he needs is this other person, and he is feeling good. They also mellow him out, perhaps, in a sense, right? Mellow is a good thing. He's saying, like, you pacify me in a wonderful way. You calm me. You are my muse, my meditation. You are my totem, and you make me feel complete. And I like the way that he writes that in there. Wonderful track. Jean-Luc, you got me. Let's move on to the next one, which is a little bit different. I think I'm going to kill myself. Let's go in there.
Everywhere, swarming round like flies.
The bounces.
Think about a scandal if I die. Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself.
That is such a great moment, though. This change.
Kill myself. Suicide.
I've never heard such a happy-go-lucky song, or at least energy from a song about game overing yourself, we'll just say. I've never heard... As soon as it starts off, I'm like, oh, this is going to be kind of satirical, right? Because the energy of the song is definitely not capturing the energy of the message. And yet, actually, it actually really is. The tap dancing and this vaudevillian escape that we get into is really, really fantastic. It really puts an image into our mind of this tap dancer and the piano solo at the same time. It just puts us into a certain headspace, which is really, really cool. The energy of the song is very playful, very bouncy, especially with the movement. Bum, 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 bum. The honky tonk piano, which, the name of the album is Honky Chateau, so it makes sense. But that moment on the second half of the chorus where the music opens up, becomes a little bit more melancholic and emotional, is a really what's the word, like brushstroke of genius, I guess you'd say. Like, it's just like a touch that didn't have to be added into the music, but it was, and it makes it all the difference. It makes it so sensational and very emotionally captivating. Let's read the lyrics, though, because I feel like that's very important on this track. I'm getting bored being part of mankind. There's not a lot to do no more. This race is a waste of time. People rushing everywhere, swarming around like flies. Think I'll buy a 44, give them all a surprise. Think I'm going to off myself, cause a little suicide. Stick around for a couple of days. What a scandal if I died. Yeah, I'm going to off myself, get a little headline news. I'd like to see what the paper says on the state of teenage blues. And I'm just kind of trying to work around certain words because I don't want YouTube to flag this. You all know. A rift in my family. I can't use the car. I got to be in by 10 o'clock. Who do they think they are? Make an exception if you want to save my life. Bridget Bardot got to come and see me every night. So, as he says, this is from the view of a teenager who is trying to get some attention. So there's this kind of nihilistic attitude that he has. But what is obviously a serious issue, it's kind of undermined by, as he says, the teenage blues. Why does he feel life so unfair? is it because of big world events and he just feels like this overwhelming sense of pessimism towards the world and such? No, he can't use the car. He has to be in by 10 o'clock. You know, like, it's these little things. So it's more of like an attention grabbing thing. And even says, like, I want to see what, you know, people, I wonder what people would say if I just disappeared a little bit. So I think that that's really cool. And the tap dancing, I guess you could say that the tap dancing being included kind of adds, like, he's just more playing a game rather than being, like, serious about it. At least that's how I'm kind of viewing it. That's how I'm seeing it. Because tap dancing is very playful, and I feel like he's just kind of playing, in a way, with fire, in a sense, right? Looking at the Wikipedia article for this particular track, it says, it's a cheerful little thing. Some have described it as an amusing ditty. It was premiered in 1972, both with and without Larry Smith, who is the tap dancer on here. Smith performed the tap dance on stage during the American leg of the tour, and Smith sometimes wore a wedding dress. After that tour, it was not played until later on, and I guess marimba has also featured on the solo instead at certain points. So that's really cool, especially, like I said, having that live in action and be able to see Mr. Legs, Larry Smith. That's really cool. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be Suzie, Dramas. Here we go.
I got frostbitten in the winter.
That heavy groove. I like the guitar in this verse. Long fill there. You know, Elton John is really putting down that groove. I mean, the band really is, right? But, like, they have a certain kind of snappiness and a certain kind of groove that's reminding me, at least not necessarily sound-wise, but just rhythm-wise, of Steely Dan. They have that kind of very tight execution. I really like the subtlety of the guitar playing that's being done in there. I'm trying to find who was doing that. There's so much. The credits are very, very big in this album. I believe it's going to be Davy Johnston on the guitar here. And if you listen in between those hits of blues, like, he just adds these little subtle notes that kind of speak out. And he gets a little bit of solo time in here as well. The heaviness of what I believe is going to be the guitar, the piano, and the bass in that point in the chorus when it comes around the second time around, that bum, 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 bum. And production-wise, it really captures a surrounding kind of feel there. This is like surround sound. I don't know when surround sound came out, but this is like surround sound, maybe pre-surround sound. I just really like how deep that is the second time. Because the first time in the chorus, it's heavy. Yeah. But the second time around, I don't know exactly what they add, but there's something else added in there that is even deeper. And then the bass playing, once again, I want to say it's D. Murray, but I'm not 100% sure if it's D on this particular track. Like I said, the personnel list is just huge. But the bass playing is so funky in here in the midst of the actual verse and chorus. Like, there's a lot going on bass-wise besides just, you know, playing the notes and playing according to the song and the singing and everything. There's a lot going on in here. The lyrics. I got frostbitten in the winter, ice skating on the river with my pretty little black-eyed girl. She'd make your darn toes curl just to see her. I got a fringe front on my buggy. I got a frisky little colt in a hurry. And a pretty little black-eyed Suzie by my side. And I like the little bit of, like, pizzazz that Elton adds when he says, like, by my side. Like, he didn't sing it like that, but, like, you know what I mean? Well, she sure knows how to use me, pretty black little Suzie, or black-eyed little Suzie, playing hooky with my heart all the time, living with her funky family in a derelict old alley down by the river where we share a little loving in the moonshine. Hey, Suzie and Elton, they got a thing going on. Ba-da, ba-da. Okay, sorry. I'm an old hayseed harp player. I'm the hit of the county fair. With my pretty little black-eyed girl, living proof as she swirls, she's a dancer. Yeah. Well, pretty straightforward. Just a love song about Suzie. Let's move on to the next one, huh? Which is going to be Rocket Man. I think it's going to be a long, long time. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I know how this one goes, but I don't know if I've actually heard Elton John's version. We're going to find out right now. Here we go.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. Last flight. Long time.
Like those.
Touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man. Rocket man, burning out his fuse out here alone. A rocket man.
That nose.
And I think it's gonna be a long time.
What a gorgeous track that is. I'm sure that this is a track for many of you, because I know that it's a popular one from Elton John that's like probably overplayed, or you've heard it so many times you're probably sick of it. Like I feel like it's probably one of those kind of tracks, but this version is definitely my first time hearing this one. Like I said, I've heard other renditions of it, so it sounds very familiar. So it's a first listen of this one, but I'm kind of familiar with at least how it goes. But some of the things I thought that were really nice about it, first of all, called Major Tom. Second of all, the guitar is really sweet in here. Not only production-wise once again, but how when it gets into the chorus, the entrance, you really hear those chords being struck. Like there's extra love given to it on the volume side of things. And then the slide guitar, when he's talking about, being a rocket man and such, and how the slide guitar actually plays up, rises in pitch to really bring that story to life, to really bring that visual to musical life. I think is really fantastic how that's done. I do believe it's going to be Johnston once again on the guitar here. Yes, it is going to be him, as well as many other people playing the backing vocals, or singing backing vocals rather. And then that little bit of synthesizer that's brought in courtesy of David Henschel is just once again, it's just a nice touch. You don't need a whole handful of something. Sometimes you just need a sprinkle, a pinch. And that kind of makes the audience and the listener want more of it. But you don't get more. You want more? Play the song again. Put it on repeat. And I think that with details like the guitar, like the synth, I think that this is a song that does get repeated listens. And Elton John, his voice and his singing is hauntingly beautiful in a track like this, which I made a reference to it, but it does have a Major Tom kind of feel to it, with the lyrics and being out in space and not coming back home. There's definitely a correlation to be made. She packed my bags last night pre-flight, 0 hour 9 a.m. I think I'm going to be high as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much. I miss my wife. It's lonely out here in space on such a timeless flight. I like the line, I think I'm going to be as high as a kite, because literally, because you're going to be a rocket. But maybe he's also like doing a little puff to like calm his nerves before going on this flight. And I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. No, I'm a rocket man. Like something's changed with him, and he will be different when he comes back down. Burning up his fuse up here all alone, and I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me around again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. So I think that, of course, the risk is this could be a one-way mission. He may not get home again. But if he does return, and he realizes he's going to be away a long, long time, he's going to be different. He's going to experience things. He's going to be isolated. He's not going to be the same person he was before. Now he's a rocket man. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. And there's no one there to raise them if you did. And all the science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week, a rocket man. So even with something as extravagant as being an astronaut, a rocket man on the final frontier, he's still just working a regular 9 to 5, 5 days a week, And then it's kind of, once again, melancholic how he echoes and ends. I think it's going to be a long, long time at the end. Let's look at some of the info on this particular track. It said that it charted, rising to number 2. Some would say rocketing to number 2 in the UK singles chart, and 6 on the US Billboard Hot 100. It became certified platinum for sales and streams in April 2024. Okay, that's pretty close. Kate Bush recorded a version of this. Have I not heard that? I don't think I've heard that. Okay, that's cool. It says the song was inspired by Ray Bradbury's short story, The Rocket Man, about a professional astronaut whose work keeps him away from his anguished family for months at a time. It echoes the theme of David Bowie's song Space Oddity, which I guess both recordings were produced by Gus Dudgeon. So that kind of makes sense. Taupin has denied that the Bowie song was an inspiration, but has acknowledged borrowing from Pearls Before Swine's 1970 Rocket Man, written by Tom Rapp. So while there may not be any direct correlation, it could be one of those kind of accidental coincidences, you could say. Yeah, wonderful track. Let's move on into the next one, which is actually going to be flipping over the album onto the next side of the album, technically. So moving on to side B, we're going to listen to the track Salvation. But before we listen to our Salvation, I want to know who's still watching at the halfway point on this album listen. I appreciate you a ton if you have. If you are still listening at this particular point, have you checked out Pila? Have you checked out the link that I put down below? Take a break from this video. Go listen to, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes of like cool jazz fusion with some great vocals, sensational music, and then come back. Like, think of it as like a little musical break, a little interlude. All right, now that you went and did that, because you did, right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, Salvation. Here we go. Oh, that's lovely. It's almost country-esque.
It's gotta take a lot of salvation without the fear of hell. Salvation's path to God. What we need
Well,
are
the harmonies are under there.
you must be ahead. In the distance, a candle burns. Salvation.
I think that Salvation is one of the best tracks on the album so far. Those harmonies, I love the whole thing, but those harmonies, I love how when we get into the chorus, that first harmony, the Salvation line is sung so strongly. It has this strong gospel feel, and the song actually has a little bit, at least to me, like a country western feel as well, especially in the guitar and just the singing. Elton John sounds so good here. It almost sounds like he's singing slightly differently than we've heard him in the previous tracks. He adds, and I mean just the slightest, maybe it's because of the music surrounding him, but just the slightest westernicity to it. But the harmonies, the first harmonies, Salvation, they're so big, and then right after, when it comes back, lowers everything. Ooh, like, well, no, ooh, no, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it just comes right under, like, gathering air into your lungs once again after you've just exclaimed. That is really, really nice. I think that is a sensational sound. The little bit of riffage that you get after that little gallop, that sounds really cool as well. And then the music really comes back down to a quieter, more mellow moment there with just some solemnity. I think that this is cool because when you flip over the side of the album, what I was expecting was maybe something with a little bit more jam, funk, like we've gotten in the first few tracks on the album. But this actually kind of continues the epic nature of Rocket Man. So it kind of continues that particular thread. And at this point, obviously I never know where we're going from here, but I don't know where the sound's going to go. Is it going to go back to that funkiness? Is it going to be more quiet? I don't know which direction we're going in, but I'm loving the journey. I have to say, my friends, this road goes a long, long way. And if we're going to find the end, we're going to need a helping hand. I have to say, my friends, we're looking for a light ahead. In the distance, a candle burns. Salvation keeps the hungry children fed. It's got to take a lot of salvation. What we need are willing hands. You must feel the sweat in your eyes. You must understand salvation. So to save yourself, in a sense, from whatever it may be, you got to put some work into it. You got to put some effort into it, some sweat equity, and that's the only way you can save yourself. A chance to put the devil down without the fear of hell. Salvation spreads the gospel around and free you from yourself. I have to say, my friends, this road goes a long, long way. Actually, it repeats those lines there again. So whenever you're in the dark, he mentions the candle at the end. You got to find your light. You got to make your way there, and you got to save yourself, I think. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be Slave. Here we go.
If we can. Slave, to fight the violence we must be brave. A bit of blow to face all the face.
There's been a very slow escalation of instruments coming in. Patience. This song definitely continues that kind of Western country feel we got from the previous, but it definitely actually makes it more intimate in this track. Whereas the last one had this big, epic kind of, especially the harmonies, the sound. This one kind of brings it down a little bit, and it brings it down to, like I said, more intimacy, which works as well with the lyrics, which seems like Elton John's singing from the point of view of a slave, and I really like the sensitivity that he brings in there. I like the hopeful energy that he has in there as well, and then I really like like I said, that patient escalation of instrumentation as it comes in. So Elton and guitar, and then eventually bass is added. Eventually banjo starts playing in the back. Like I barely heard it. I don't even know when it came in, but it came. Just kind of finger picking, finger licking good in the side there. Drums eventually coming in as well, and then slide guitar. So all this happens very, very, why did I say it like that? Very, very steadily, which I think is great. Like, don't just jam pack the song, like make it front heavy and top heavy. Make it gentle. Kind of lead you in a little bit. Kind of bring it up. Let's get into these lyrics though. There's a river running sweat right through our land, driven by a man with a bullwhip in his hand. And I've taken just as much as I can stand. Oh, we've got to free our brothers from their shackles if we can. Most nights I have to watch my woman cry. Every day I watch the colonel smile. He smiles. His painted ladies riding in from town and from town. I swear one day I'm going to burn the whorehouse to the ground, to the ground. Slave, to fight the violence we must be brave. Hold on strong to the love God gave. And I like this line here, or the next verse really. There's a rumor of a war that's yet to come that may free our families, free our sons and our sons. Now, the whole time he's been repeating the last lines of particular verses, right? But I think that this particular line, that may free our families and our sons, I think is yes, done purposely, but is also referencing how fighting for this freedom is not just for ourselves, but for our sons, and then our sons' sons, and then further generations. Like, that's just how I'm taking it. Like I said, every line is repeated at the end, but I'm taking it a little further the way he writes it there. It may lay green lands to barren waste to waste. Oh, the price of release is a bitter blow to the face. So, of course, trying to fight for their freedom, trying to earn their freedom, shouldn't have to fight for your freedom, but, you shouldn't be slaves in the first place. But you know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to endure, fight, and work to get their freedom. And it kind of reminds me, in some ways, maybe it's just because of the topic more so than anything. Have you guys, I hope that you guys have seen the movie Glory. That is, we watched that movie in school like a long time ago, like in middle school. And it's one of those movies that was always put on in history class. And it holds up so wonderfully. That is such a great, great, great movie. Man, love that movie. A lot of star power in there too. All right, moving on into the next track here, we got Amy. Let Us Go. And actually, before we do, I guess you could even argue that the previous song, Salvation, may have a little bit of a link to this song here, Slave. All right, Amy, here we go. Oh, the percussion. I like the percussion in the previous track.
Fall out, you're fab and insane. You are an infection. So if you don't want me around, but I can't whistle, you see, Amy.
Telling it like it is. Woo! Amy had a good song written about her. This is a straight ode. This is not an ode to Amy. This is worship to Amy. He is singing it out to Amy. The musicians are hot for Amy. The ending especially. The production once again changes on Elton's voice. He sings very clearly to us, but of course to Amy, to this girl, he's singing baby. Come on now. And then the way that, especially violin and bass, Jean-Luc of course, and then Dee Murray playing the bass, the way that they turn up at the very end, when John kind of leaves for, vocally, he comes in hard with piano, but when they leave, they play really hard for just a moment. They get right down. So Amy definitely brings back that funk and that soul that we've heard in the previous parts of the album. and it is cathartic. It is good to hear it. It is bumping. It's a great track. I mean, he starts off quite heavy. Tread on my face if you like, little lady. Turn me inside out if you have to, baby. But don't you cross me off your list. I'm young and I have never been kissed. Never been kissed by a lady called Amy. He said, I like the change. I've never been kissed. Well, let me rephrase. I've never been kissed by a lady named Amy. Want to be the first? Right? You're far out. You're fab and insane. A woman of the world. It's quite plain. My dad told me Amy's your name. Said he'd break my neck if I played your game. But he can bust my head because I love you all the same. He doesn't care. Whoever Amy is, we got a song for you. I know you don't like to show affection because the big boys like you, and to you, I'm an infection. So if you don't want me around, I think I'll run along and drown. But you can't want this bum in town, Amy. I'm beating on the streets because I loves you. I watch you go to work in the summer. I don't whistle at you down the street. I would if I could, but I can't whistle, you see. Once again, the reversal of the line. Unlike other catcallers, I don't disrespect you. I don't call you out on the street. I don't whistle at you when you walk down the street. But I only don't do it because I don't know how to whistle. I may not be James Dean. I may not be 19. I may still be in romper boots and jeans. But Amy, you're the girl that wrecks my dreams. What else is there to say? Moving on to the next track here is going to be Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. Here we go, guys.
Now I know. Thank the Lord. There's people out there like you. For the people I have found. Subway's no way for a good man to.
This was a beautiful, relaxing, moving track before we move on to the ending of the album. This is a very calm track. To me, it's very picturesque. I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but the lyrics seem very observational. And even the way that Elton's singing, it has that kind of casual observantness to it. Like if you're sitting on a park bench and you're just kind of if you're watching the people walking by, I don't know, dogs running across the lawn, a family messing with a kite, the sun is shining bright. Like, there's just this kind of calm, casual observation to it. And I really like how the music captures that, because what I thought was guitar is actually mandolin by David Johnston. I should have known. Duh. But I love how the mandolin just adds a little bit of exoticness to it. Something exquisite into the mix, but not to take away from the picture in front of us, not to take away from the images that are playing in our mind's eye. I think that that's absolutely wonderful, alongside, of course, with the piano playing and Dee Murray on the bass again. It's a ballad, for sure, but it's not, as far as I can tell, it's not like a love ballad, it's not anything like that. It's just, I don't know, there's just a cool casualness to it that I really enjoy, and I think that the emotional hits hit very nicely on this one, with kind of soft rises and falls here. And now I know Spanish Harlem are not just pretty words to say. I thought I knew, but now I know that rose trees never grow in New York City. Until you've seen this trash can dream come true, you stand at the edge while people are running you through. And I thank the Lord there's people out there like you. While Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, son of bankers, son of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night, for unless they see the sky, but they can't, and that is why they know not if it's dark outside or light. So there's something that he's saying, that Mona Lisas, Mad Hatters, sons of bankers and of lawyers, there's something that they can't see, that apparently he can. But what is it? He says they can't see the sky. What does the sky mean? I think the sky means dreams. I think the sky means hope. I think the sky means escape into something greater, which kind of goes with the lines where he says before, like, this trash can dream as well. Maybe. This Broadway's got a lot of songs to sing. If I knew the tunes, I might join in. I'd go my way alone. I'd grow my own. My own seeds shall be sown in New York City. So he may not immediately fit into this lifestyle, into whatever he's trying to fit into. Here it's talking about New York City. Remember in the previous track he was talking about being in the city and how people are telling him not to. So there's at least a connection thematically there. But then he says he's going to grow his own seeds. He may not be able to adjust to what other people are doing, so he's going to make his own way. Subway's no good for a man to go down. Rich man can ride, and the hobo he can drown. And I thank the Lord for the people I have found. I'm not sure what that line means. Subway's no good for a man to go down. Rich man can ride, and the hobo he can drown. I mean, it could just be literal, sure. But I feel like there's something deeper to it. I'm not quite sure about that line. And then the rest of it just repeats out there. It says that this track makes direct references to the 1960 track by Benny King and later popularized by Aretha Franklin titled Spanish Harlem. I don't believe I've ever heard that track. It says that Bernie Taupin decided to write this track based on how he had grown to see the city of New York. The first half was written based on some particular poor experiences he had during a visit, but continuing into the second half, it tells of how a city can simultaneously be a place of great pride and progress for an enterprising individual. So yeah, like anywhere, it's good and bad. And I like how he writes these experiences of the first time, okay, there was a negative experience, but the next times there's maybe something a little bit more hopeful in there. So I like how he captures both in there. Let's move on into the final track of the album. Not sure why I clapped, but that is going, oh, Hercules. Remember, was that, what movie is that? Is that actually Disney Hercules? But wasn't that also in The Nutty Professor? With Eddie Murphy? Let's move on. Here we go.
Some men need a break. That old talk man routine of first sleep. Me, I stay ready up to my ears. A cat named Hercules.
One last go around. One last spin. And we end the album strong, literally, with Hercules. We get right back into that funk, into that junkyard jammy blues sound. Love how the band goes out as well, because the final song, not always, it doesn't have to, but I like when the final song acts as this kind of celebration of everything that's happened before. And I think the way that they go out, especially Elton John's piano playing at the end, which he's hammering it. He's going down. I think it acts as that big finale to everything there. I love how upbeat and happy it is. I love the doo-wop section that's brought in. With Elton John in this album, there's been so many little, seemingly random things that are brought in, like the tap dancing and here with the doo-wop section. But he makes it work in fabulous ways, and it just is so cool to listen to, because you're always wondering and like thinking, what is he going to do next? What is he going to incorporate? Maybe some forgotten sound or instrument or technique, you know? When is he going to bring that back, and how is he going to bring it back? And it adds just such fun swing to the music. I can't, when the doo-wop section comes in, like, you're swinging. You're doing a little bit of Carlton right there, right? You can't help it. I love the long drum rolls as well, those fills that kind of help make you salivate and anticipate what's coming next. You're waiting for that big entrance when the music comes back in, and I think the drumming does a great job of leading you there fantastically. All right, let's talk about how he cannot compare to this Hercules. Oh, I got a busted wing and a hornet sting, like an out-of-tune guitar. Oh, she got a Hercules on her side and Diana in her eyes. Some men like the Chinese life, some men kneel and pray. Well, I like my women and I like my wine, and I've always liked it that way, always liked it that way. I can't dig it the way she teased that old tough man routine up her sleeves. Living and a loving, kissing and a hugging, living and loving with a cat named Hercules. He wishes he was her Hercules, but he's not. He's just her Pan. Will that work? I think that'll work. Oh, it hurts like hell to see my girl messing with a muscle boy. No Superman gonna... I just closed the lyrics. Hold on. Sorry about that. I got it. Oh, it hurts like hell to see my girl messing with a muscle man or muscle boy. No Superman gonna ruin my plans, playing with my toys. Rich man sweating in a sauna bath. Poor boy scrubbing in a tub. Me? I stay gritty up to my ears, washing in a bucket of mud. He's trying to, well, I don't know. Either he's trying to appear like more rugged and dirty to like attract her, or because maybe he washes in a bucket of mud, maybe that's part of the issue. But I can't dig at the way she teased that old man, tough man routine up her sleeves. A cat named Hercules. Well, I think he needs to take a bath with water and probably not mud. I don't think that's going to be doing him any favors, to be honest. Anyways, guys, hope that you enjoyed listening to the album with me. I hope that you enjoyed spending whatever time it was. I know it's a decent amount of time, so I appreciate you coming on through and listening to Elton John, Honky, Chateau with me. My favorite tracks on this one are definitely going to be Rocket Man and Salvation. I really like that 1-2 punch, even though technically you would have to flip the album over to do that. Yeah, but those are easily my top 2 favorite tracks on the album. After that, if I had to push, I would either go Mellow or I think I'm going to Off Myself. One of those would be in third place, but definitely Rocket Man and Salvation. Hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it with me. I really appreciate the time that you've spent with me today. I appreciate one of you subscribers as well sending the album to me and gifting that as well. Please, if you haven't already, press that like button. I don't know why. You shouldn't have to press it at this point, but I'm going to give you one more chance just to press that like button. If you've made it this point in the video and you're not a subscriber, first of all, introduce yourself. Say hello. Hi, I'm Justin. Just introduce yourself, and if you want, press the subscribe button. You can support the channel and what I do on Patreon. $2 a month. You don't have to, but it helps a lot. Check out the band Pila and the music I linked down there. That's the video. That's it, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.